We told you about that discussion on the show. We're extending all the related conversation on the subject of the referendum. 17th of December 2019 is the date, and it's just a question of a yes or no vote, and ultimately leading to the election of MMDCs. But we do know all the conversations this seem to have elicited and the sides that so far have emerged. But what does it mean? Now, sitting at the current base of the local governance structure are various MMDAs, and they are headed by various MMDCs as well. Their parent association is the National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, known with the acronym NOLAG. But the president is right here, or the chairman. We have to put it into better perspective. And he is currently the district chief executive for Gumwa West. But he brings to this conversation an experience of, sitting in the position of being an MC, and also what it means to be one under a dispensation where the executive has enormous power. And of course, because he's been appointed by the elected authority, the president, ultimately means that, just like we've seen, usually the bidding of the president becomes key in many of the related conversations around the governance structure at the local level. Bismarck Besi Inkum is here. Good morning to you, Mr. Inkum.
Good morning, Roland.
Okay. Good. And you followed the debate so far. Now it looks like we're at the threshold.
Good.
What have been your observations so far? You've picked from all the discussions.
Good morning to your cherished viewers. I think let me first deal with the basis for what has led us to where we are now. That the New Patriotic Party, through the then candidate Akufo-Addo, who is now the President of the Republic of Ghana, made a promise to the people of Ghana that when he was elected, he was going to ensure that MMDCs are elected. And of course, the decision or the right to do that lies with Parliament. And of course, Article 2431 is being looked at by Parliament. But then when that is done, what it means is that the election of MMDCs will now fall under election to the district assemblies, and that is in Article 55.3. And so yes, the discussions have been ongoing. As NALAC, we've had sensitization programs throughout the country, and we've realized that yes, people are willing to go with a yes vote, but of course, the concern is also that we have not started this whole discussion very early in the public domain, even though within the political circles, parliament, chief executives, presidency, engagement with chiefs, discussions have been going on. But engaging the general public, i.e. market women, fisher folks and all that, they think that the information has been a little bit late. But generally, people are of the view that a yes vote should be considered.
Mm. And we do know, the Institute of Local Government Studies, they conducted a survey, and that was prior to now. And the indication was that just a little over 60% wanted the election on partisan basis. But we also do understand what the concerns have been for the knowers, those individuals, agencies and groupings that are advocating for a no vote. Now, per your experiences being a chief executive, in which, because you're from the angle of an appointing authority, how does that positively enable you to be able to meet the aspirations of the people that you govern?
Well, so as a chief executive who has been appointed by the president, obviously there's a set of promises that the president has made to the people of Ghana. And as a representative of the president, naturally, you will be aligned to the works and the things that the president wants to do. And so, for example, almost all MMDCs in Ghana are towing to the line of planting for food and jobs, planting for export and rural development, SHS, ensuring that we are also expanding the infrastructure base, because at the national level, this is what the president wants to do. But then at the district level, this is about the local government. Yes, at the national level, the president wants to do A, B, C, D, but you realize that the needs of your people are most of the time subjected to the general needs at the national level. And so from where I sit, yes, I am basically executing the agenda of the president because I have been appointed by the president. And that is the difficulty with this appointing role. But when you are elected as a chief executive, I tell you, you can expand your scope. For example, if I am elected, I am going to push for certain laws to be amended so that my road, which is not constructed, I can then engage private investors. I can then go to the bond market and have investment into my district, construct the road, and, for example, put a toll booth on it. But today, you cannot do that.
If you are elected on the ticket of a party, can you do that?
Yes.
If your party whips you into line to say that don't go to this market, this financial market, and go and source for this sort of funding for this intended project, even though the business case for the project would have been a project that could pay for itself. If your party whips you into line, is that possible?
It's not about a party whipping me into line.
Because you were elected on the tickets of the party.
Yes, and the party would want to retain that district going forward if an election is going to be conducted. So you do the things that will enable the people in your locality even to vote for your party. And so you will also have to make a case to the party that, look, my people need roads, they need schools, they need this, and I need money to be able to do that. So if on my own at that district level I'm able to do that, then the ultimate is that we will execute to the people what they want, and when they vote for me, the party would have won.
One of the main thrusts of the arguments that have been made currently by the knowers or the no-vote campaigners is the fact that since the Fourth Republic began, 1993 was the first time we held a convincing democratic election. We've had, if it is one party ruling, of course, has been NPP and NDC.
Yes.
All the others are brushed aside. Indeed, I don't know whether it happened in your district or if it is an NPP party winning, all NDC so-called foot soldiers or members who maybe were heads of somewhere in the municipality or were managing a toilet facility or a market, etc., were pushed or shoved aside. And then they repeat the same in vengeance when their party also comes to power.
Yes.
We've seen that intermittently.
And I think that argument rather goes for a yes vote. It's in favor of a yes vote ideally. Because this is it, the government of the matter, that when a particular political party wins power at the national level, then the appointing authority will then appoint party folks into all positions across the length and breadth of the country, at the district level, at the regional level, and at the national level. And that is why you have a situation whereby, okay, we have assumed power, we have appointed our people, and so we need to push you aside. But in this particular case, if we're able to go for a yes vote and a particular political party, for example, MPP, wins at the national level, you will then still have other political parties winning elections at the district level.
You mean mainly NDC?
NDC, in our case NDC now, and I hope PNC, CVP, and Co. They will also come up.
So far since 1993, it hasn't shown that the smaller parties have had gains. If you look at the parliamentary elections,
they would have to look at their ways of operating, because I think this is the.
So your argument is that once you have a party that is in government, and this time, of course, it's the MPP,
yes,
sometimes it may be the NDC, at least you have an MPP or NDC somehow also.
Yes, also represented in government, at least at the district level. And let me say, voter region, for example, you could have basically all the MMDCs from voter region belonging to the opposition party. And when this happens, the winner takes all syndrome is taken out completely. So, and that is why we are even going to have some level of unity. Then it's not about NDC trying to develop or trying to oppose what the NPP is trying to do, but then we now have NDC people in government, NPP people in government. How can the two put together develop our country and our various localities?
So, for example, for Nalag, we're going to have MPP representatives, NDC representatives, or MPP, PNC, NDC, MMDCs being the composition of NALAC.
Exactly.
That's the point.
Exactly. And can you imagine
how would that prevent the rancor that usually characterizes post transition elections?
I think that has naturally been what the supporters do, but at the highest level.
Because you guys are elected, yes, but you still look on, and your supporters go on rampage, and they do what they like. They close NYEP or YEA offices. They put padlocks on doors of toilets, public toilet belonging to the assembly. Yes. They do that same for vehicle or lorry stations. They do that same for even NADMO offices.
A lot of things. And that is why a yes vote is very good for us. Because now look, the NYEA office that you mentioned, if we have people represented by the opposition party as chief executives, then it means the NYEA office belongs to somebody also in opposition. And it belongs to somebody in government. And so what it means that the two, all of us, are owners of that. And so we cannot say it is MPP that has one power. So everything or all people belonging to NDC in those institutions should be sacked. No, now we will have NDC represented, MPP represented.
So it means perpetually for Volta region, for example, and greater part of northern Ghana, and then we go to the eastern as well as the Ashanti regions, we're going to have perpetually only MPP and NDC, another smaller minority, if you make consideration for northern Ghana, representatives throughout.
It will be perpetual if only we continue to engage the people the way we currently engaging them. But if we change our strategy, who knows, things may change. MPP had struggled to win even parliamentary seat in Volta region before, but at least we were able to do it the last time by winning one. So who knows? Political parties must then begin to re-strategize how they deal with the people and how they project their activities in those areas. I believe in this. This is the global trend. The Americans, the Europeans, the Asians, Middle East, the Asia Pacific, all of them. This is a trend. Even within the Sub-Sahara Africa, we attained independence before almost all of them. Talk about Sierra Leone, a country that has come from a Tony war just about 15, 16 years ago. They copied our decentralization policy in Ghana, and they have gone a step further to elect their councillors and their mayors on partisan basis. So what has happened wrong to Ghana? Change is difficult, I admit, but this is what is happening all over the globe. And those who are genius to us are even going that further.
Do you agree that at the national level, there is extensive polarization between the two political divides since we got the Fourth Republican status going?
It is not. I'm telling you, I am very much sure.
You are saying that we're not divided between MPP?
We are not divided. I want to make this point very clear.
Make it clear.
My predecessor, the chief executive, who was an NDC, he's a very close friend of mine. There are top NDC guys who are very close friends of mine. The NDC communication officer, the NDC parliamentary candidate Ingo Mwawes is a friend of mine. In fact, all those who contested the NDC primaries, they are friends of mine.
But they hold no position in the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
That's what I'm saying.
Even at the local level.
But when we're talking about polarization, then we are talking about the direct division between at least the two.
But there is.
That's what I'm saying. That, I mean, it is the picture that has not been projected well. I am sure former President Mahama and President Akufo-Addo, they engage a lot. I am pretty much sure about that. At the regional level, you see the regional chairman of MPP, regional chairman of NDC engaging a lot. We engage a lot. But even in parliament, and I'm saying this is why a yes vote is very paramount. In parliament where it is partisan, we have agreed on almost 80% of issues, 90% of issues that come up in parliament. And we have NDC represented, we have MPP represented. I'm not sure if we have any other political party being represented at Parliament right now. But this has been our system. We have made our elections partisan from 1992.
So it should continue to the local level.
Continue to the local level.
But that is the very argument that the no vote campaigners make. That the way we have started, or we started from 1993, it's led to the massive division we've seen. And as a result of that, if it's not NDC, then it should be MPP. And there's no room for both sides when one is having the seat of government.
This division is perception. To be very honest with you,
Are you serious?
It is perception that has also been fueled some way, somehow, by the media. But are you telling me that, for example, the Speaker of Parliament, the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, and the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Abambabin, they don't sit and agree on national issues? Ask them, 98–99% of the times, they agree. It's just that because it is a contest and we want to take a position. That is why in the media landscape and even at the grassroots level, NDC is for no, this is for this, and it appears that there is a division. But really on national issues, 99% of the time there is always agreement. And that is why most of the bills that goes to Parliament, they get passed. It's only one or two that Parliament disagree. But everything that has gone from the executive, minority in Parliament, they support. Majority, they support. So we have always agreed on issues as a people, except to say how we project some of the differences in the public domain. That has been the problem now. And so the unenlightened person sitting at the local level thinks that, for example, there is a problem between former President Mahama and President Akufo-Addo. The unenlightened person at the local level, for example, thinks that there is a similar disagreement between NDC and MPP. And that is how come after elections, people will go on rampage. But in reality, as a country, and as a country, I always want to use Parliament because it's an embodiment of our unity. MPP is there, NDC is there. If the minority political parties are able to enter, they are also there. And they agree virtually on almost every issue. Indeed, this referendum has been agreed by both minority and majority in Parliament. Parliamentary Hansard shows that they agree. And so you realize that most of the things, there is a consensus. I don't believe that as a people at the locality, we should always look at one or few issues in the media landscape and begin to fight.
What would happen if we have, let's say, where you head, Gomwa
West.
Okay, in Gomwa West, we had somebody who was not aligned to any of the parties at all, at least physically or publicly.
Yes.
And so when we have the no coming into effect, and so we'll just sponsor himself to be elected to the position of the DC or the chief executive for the area. What would happen to that?
Yes, I agree. And even if we get if we get a yes vote, that will not prevent individuals from putting up themselves for consideration.
But the fact is, they can't fight the force of political parties.
Yes, but in Ghana,
but the political parties all have the resources, or even the sponsors of the various individuals and the political parties want to sponsor individuals only on party lines.
So the yes vote
is because if you don't do that, then you get nothing when power is won.
No. In Parliament, we have had independent candidates before.
How many?
I believe
many?
We have had more than 3-4 independent candidates before.
Yeah, but not at a sitting. It happens once sporadically. You have 2, 3, you have 1.
Exactly. And I believe at the local level, if you want to put yourself up, you have the opportunity to meet with the chiefs. You have the opportunity, in my case, to meet with farmers, to meet with fishmongers.
You think an independent candidate
can go
around Gomwa West?
I think so.
And fight the might of MPP and NDC?
For example, if my party rejects me, they say, Nkumu, we don't want to use you, and I decide to contest, I tell you I will win because of what I am able to do for the people.
Because you think that you are popular with your party, and then maybe you have some other other sympathizers on the opposing side. That's how come if you go independent, that's the only way you can win.
No, no. See, let me tell you, and people are arguing that even if we make it partisan, the likelihood of not having the best of candidates, I disagree. When we make it partisan, what it means is that the political parties, NDC, for example, probably will want to go through primaries or would want to vet candidates. And
and who says that whoever is elected at a party primary is the best human resource to be a chief executive?
Well,
we've seen many political appointees who have performed incompetently in their positions.
So if he comes and he doesn't perform, the people must reject the person. That's my opinion. If he comes and he doesn't perform, he must be rejected.
By who?
By the people. And this is about giving the power to the people.
Is on a party platform, of, let's say, MPP in Ashanti and NDC in the Volta region. You only change a party person. You really don't change a competent individual.
I tell you, that is why even the political party, yes, the political party, you know why they go for primaries and certain parliamentarians, they lose their primaries? It's because the people perceive that they are not performing.
It's only among them.
So among them, they want to present a better alternative to the people.
Wait. Why should the primary to elect a candidate at local level be restricted to a few party people who have the right to choose a few individuals so-called to be competent for that position? Why not leave it for that delegate list to be the entire district or municipality or metropolitan area?
So you see, when we also begin to argue this way, then we are trying to say political parties some way, somehow are irrelevant. But number one, we have already accepted party democracy since 1992, and that is the way to go. That is what we have accepted. And what I'm saying is that groupings are also important. Groupings represent some kind of ideology, want to develop your locality in this way.
So, for example,
yes,
don't you think if the president had not appointed you and you had the position vacant, somebody more competent than you could have been chief executive, not on any party basis?
Well, in my case, I was the constituency chairman, and you couldn't have appointed somebody who has led the party to win even the seat in the district. Nobody will be considered.
So you were there because of the political party?
I was there because of the political party and the fact that I was able to execute for the party, and the fact to win, and the fact that I was interviewed. I was subjected to 3 series of interviews and considered the best among the rest.
By a criteria set by the political party?
Not by a criteria set by the political party. You were interviewed based on your qualification, what you have acquired in terms of academic certificate, based on your experience, what you have done in your life, how you have already impacted on the lives of the people and all that, and your general acceptability.
And the exclusion of individuals who necessarily may not hold sway either in MPP or NDC, who could also have equally, if not more, competencies like you.
And that is why going for election is good. So MPP, you put up a candidate.
You are just making an argument for a no vote.
No, I'm making an argument for a yes vote. I'm making an argument for a yes vote, that now the power to elect a chief executive is for the people, now belongs to the people and not a single person, not just the president. So
the power to elect who the people have to choose, which belongs to the people, is being restricted to people who have been chosen by the political party.
But do you prefer that one to a power that has been restricted to only one person?
Not to many people. If we have 20 people in the district who feel they are competent, including then fine.
So I am telling you, but that is even a better alternative than what...
It should never be on MPP and NDC or PNC basis.
So
even if everybody knows you to be MPP, come neutrally, so that when they see that you have the competencies, they'll vote for you.
Let's see, we have somebody who has also made a proposal, and the proposal is to the effect that, look, for us, we are going to appoint 5 people, send them to Public Service Commission, and Public Service Commission will reduce them to 3.
Because even in your party, I'm not, it is not a personal issue. Yes. Even in the parties, the respective parties, and this time it's the MPP that's all the various MMDCs are not the most competent. Or or necessarily are not the only ones who are competent to occupy those positions.
Well,
there could have been others as well who have been excluded.
So let's go for election. For a yes, let's go for a yes vote
But the
so
party
that they get
will
elected. But what do you mean by the party will only choose one? If
so
you come to
you
my
are just
district,
making an argument for a no vote.
for a yes vote.
That is why we have to open it
No,
so that everybody comes in.
we are making
so you can have, if it's 20 people who are aligned to MPP or NDC, they all come.
But what I'm telling you is this: already participation at the local level is very low because of the non-involvement of political parties. I mean, we are doing it covertly.
Are you sure?
Yes, it's being.
Do you think, being the president of NALAC,
yes,
do you think that we have the low participation in the district level elections, as we've seen in the Fourth Republic, because the political parties are not
partly
involved?
due to that?
It's all because we have an entity like the NCC, which is supposed to do the civic education,
yes,
is not given the needed resources by central government to be able to competently educate people and conscientize them about their rights, not only to free speech, but also to vote.
But I disagree. That is why I disagree with you, because the same institutions you are referring to have been there, and Ghanaians have patronized parliamentary and presidential elections very well. Unless we are told that when it comes to parliamentary and presidential elections, they are given a separate resources.
It's because the political parties have complemented the efforts.
Exactly. And that is why when we now give the political parties the opportunity to participate, amend Article 55, then they can complement the efforts and whip up the people.
If the political parties won, the no voters or the no advocates say that the parties could also complement them all the same without it being partisan.
No, but there is a constitutional agreement that as political party you cannot do that. Article 55(3).
No, but so the political parties do it, even though the MCC is supposed to be doing it.
So that is, we do it in a covert way. If you don't see during these assembly elections, you don't see NDC having their paraphernalia, you don't see MPP having their paraphernalia. So let it be so. So it means Article 55(3) must be amended at the referendum so that political parties can now participate. You agree with me?
I don't agree with you.
No, you agree with me. Okay. That is in effect.
I asked the question.
Yes.
All your members in NALAC, yes, National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, do you think, even let's say it's only they are all MPP or yes, appointed by the president,
yes,
are they the only competent people, even if they were only MPP, who are in the MPP who could have occupied those positions?
Very well, but this question, you can ask this question in every sphere of life. Can we say that indeed teachers in the classroom are the most competent people to teach our children? It's because they have had opportunity to be in the classroom. Are we saying
because there are various opportunities for teachers. So if you don't occupy in school A, you occupy in school B.
Exactly.
But this one, there's no Gomwa West A, Gomwa West B. It's the same Gomwa.
No.
And the position is only one.
No.
And it's only the executive president who has the appointing authority to do the appointments. And that is all you members of NALA.
It is the same thing. See,
no, but it restricts even members of your party who should also be given the opportunity to make themselves available to serve.
It doesn't restrict. That is why I'm saying that when the amendment is done, it does not mean that only political parties are going to be allowed to contest independent candidates. In fact, if you belong to a political party and you think you are competent enough, your people, you are acceptable to your people, and you want to go your way out of the political party, you are not prevented from doing so. And so that's why I am thinking that, see, we need to go for this year's vote. From where I sit, I think we need to do. And let me give you a simple example before we leave. It is the president who appointed me. And the president thinks that Nkum is good. He's my friend. But the people don't like you. The chiefs don't like you. And they make an appeal to the president. Mr. President, Nkum is not performing. We don't want him. But in view of the Mr. President, I am his best pal. Do you think Mr. President will remove me from office? No. But then when you are voted for by the people and you are not performing, you know that your continuous stay in office is dependent on the kokromoti power of the people. And so you have no choice than to ensure that you are performing to the satisfaction of your people and the chiefs in your locality.
So if it is an area dominated by one particular party, which is the MPP, it means that it will still be a party man. It will still be you.
If it's an area dominated by a political party, let the other political party have a strategy.
Bismarck Nkum is the national president for the National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana. You know, all those MMDCs put together in one association. It's also the DC for Gomwa West. It's about the continuing debate. What do you make of the discussion so far? But let's move on. Bring you a great discussion on health and its related accessibility to facilities. And let's run this by you. Don't you just hate it when your data runs out in the middle of something very important? Well, Surfline, Ghana's first and only true 4G network, has introduced a bundle that is guaranteed to give you total peace of mind all throughout the month. Now, Surfline's always on bundle gives you unlimited data that never stops for the whole month. No need for unexpected expenses in the middle of the month on internet data. The always on bundle from Surfline guarantees you all these. So this is what you need to do. Just make sure you dial *718 *77 hash to purchase an always on bundle today. The always on bundle is also available at Surfline shops, Shell shops, Express Pay, eTransact, Slide Pay, Hubtel, and Koba electronic platforms. Surfline always on bundle, pure unlimited bundle that never stops. Surfline, it's about time. Well, the conversation is up next on health.